I'm at the booth for the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, and I'm with Charles Brownstein. And what is the booth doing here? What are you guys are talking about? What can people find out here?
Sure. The Comic Book Legal Defense Fund is a nonprofit organization that protects the freedom to read. And so we are here educating people about what's happening in the free expression world, what kind of challenges are happening for comics and graphic novels.
Now, people tend to think of banned books as something from the past, but is it something that's still prevalent today?
Banned books is a very prevalent problem right now, especially in the school and library community. The current moral panic is happening in schools and libraries. People lashing out against books that might have LGBTQ content, people lashing out against books that might discuss sexuality. And comics are a big part of that.
And if people want to find you here on the Comic-Con floor, where are you located?
We are at booth 1920 right across from DC, and you can learn more at cbldf.org.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gaming is no doubt a lot of fun for the millions of people who take part, but it's not without real-life issues such as bullying. In fact, half of all gamers report harassment and/or abuse, and women are often on the receiving end. I spoke to two local women gamers who tell me that their fantasy worlds are often accosted by bullies.
Lottie Grondel describes herself as a hardcore gamer.
I do spend quite a few of my waking hours either in front of a PC or in front of a console.
Like kids before her, the 90s baby was first turned on to video games by the Super Mario Brothers. Then there was Legend of Zelda, Castlevania, and Final Fantasy X. The evolution of gaming now lets her indulge anywhere with Wi-Fi, including the KPBS newsroom.
So he's my support, because I am a pretty weak character whose main job is just to do a lot of damage really fast.
Grondel is playing Jinx in the hugely popular game League of Legends. An estimated 27 million people play this game every day. Jinx is expected to be fast and dole out a lot of destruction.
No, don't, shh, God. Don't you dare hit my support. Haha, missed me.
Grondel yells out and types messages to her four teammates as she uses her minigun and rocket launchers to kill creatures for gold and destroy the other team's base.
Oh, Lord. Oh, I need to back. So they hit me pretty hard, so I'm backing.
I think we should prioritize you a little bit more.
Anna Nguyen is another League of Legends player, though admittedly less vocal.
When I play a game, and usually if there's like voice chat or something like that, I don't want it made known that I'm a female. That's probably a part of it.
Nguyen says she's less inclined to play with strangers or reveal her gender.
There's a stigma that girls aren't good at playing video games, so it's like, oh man, I have a girl on my team.
Grondel and Nguyen don't know each other. They're two San Diego professionals who dedicate hours to the gaming culture, including cosplay, their physical, detailed transformations into their favorite characters. They're part of the growing millions of women who have ousted teen boys as the largest gaming demographic in the U.S. And they both find being a woman gamer comes with added challenges. Lottie likens it to hazing.
When somebody brings up a video game and you engage in conversation, the male never has to prove himself as worthy of joining the conversation, but usually everybody stops the conversation, turns to me, and kind of quizzes me.
Nguyen says the taunts and negative comments have completely turned her off from group chatting.
People say really toxic things online just because there's a screen. You don't have to deal with people face to face.
It's Mia Consalvo.
Mia Consalvo is a professor and Canada Research Chair in Game Studies and Design at Concordia University in Montreal. She says harassing behavior and gaming have a long history.
As long as people have played games and as long as we've had research about, digital games and online games or multiplayer games, there have been problems, with bullying, with abuse, with harassment.
Consalvo says women aren't the only targets.
And it's also, a problem not just for women, Gay players have been harassed. Minority players have been harassed as well.
Ditch the Label is an anti-bullying organization. Its 2017 survey found 47% of responding gamers say they've been threatened. 38% say they've been hacked within a game. Like most online networks, Consalvo says game developers struggle to enforce rules with their users and give the targets of online abuse legitimate ways to follow up offline.
Game culture certainly has its problems, but unfortunately, we see these things, happening in lots of places, outside of just games as well, just in online culture in general now.
Nguyen thinks anonymity fuels toxicity.
Yeah, it is a mirror of society, but maybe amplified because you're behind a screen.
Still, she isn't turned off by the community that connects her friends.
So I'm player 1 right now?
No, you're player 2.
She even invites me to give it a whirl. Gripping the controller, I try out Super Smash Brothers.
Okay.
Randomly jamming buttons. It's easy to see the appeal. It's a thrill each time Yoshi, the green dinosaur I'm controlling, pulls off a move. Nguyen thinks these characters will ultimately help change how women are perceived in gaming.
More recently, I feel like there's more of an incorporation of stronger women, not, large-chested women.
The women gamers also agree. For them, the joys of gaming outweigh the negative aspects. Grando says there's no better way to decompress, escape, and kick butt.
A lot of people say, get a life. Well, sure, but I'm a gamer. I have lots of lives.
Mad Magazine sketch artist Sergio Aragones is inside the convention center here behind me. It is his 47th year. He's been coming since 1970 when he came as a visitor. KPBS video journalist Katie Shulov sat down with him and asked him to reflect on how things have changed.
I'm Sergio Aragones. I'm a cartoonist. I've been with Mad Magazine for the last 15 years. And we're here at San Diego Con, saying hello to all my friends and fans and signing autographs. And then I charge them $100. My pleasure, enjoy. I came when it opened the first time. In the 70s. I started in 1954. I was in high school. I was a little kid. I was drawing on the walls, Now, then, you have a mustache and everything, then I can still draw on the walls, and now they pay for it. In the beginning, there were not that many people, so it was in a place called El Cortez. Oh, that's the 70s by myself, and then a little more advanced. Then we went to Convention Center, because it grew up so much. And then this is how it looks now. This is what happens, masses of people, millions of people dressed like Batman. And then priests with horns and rifles and things, but it's masses. Help, help. But the real change has been that less and less people related to comics come in, because a lot of the people are interested in movies, television. Many of them don't even know about comics, which a lot of people complain, but I love it, because like this, they rediscover things when they were kids. But the old-timers, they keep coming and they keep saying hello, and you see them growing from little kids to adults. And it's a pleasure being here, because you're the recipient of all these years of memories and stuff. So it's a great feeling.
IDW is a San Diego-based publishing company that started off small with comic books and graphic novels. Now it's one of the largest comic book publishing companies in the U.S. with an impressive presence here inside the convention center. They have a 40 by 40 booth, and KPBS Arts reporter Beth Accomando got an up-close look, and right now she's going to take us behind the scenes to show us what it took to pull it all off.
IDW Publishing has become a marker on the Comic-Con floor with its spinning signage high above its booth. The fact that attendees packed the booth on preview night and that multiple signings went off without a hitch was no accident. It's a result of careful planning, says IDW co-founder Ted Adams.
Yeah, we really honestly start planning as soon as the last convention ends.
As soon as San Diego Comic-Con 2016 finished, I was writing down notes and sort of getting stuff in mind of this is what we have to do next year to just make things work a little bit better. There's a lot that goes into it. My day-to-day job has basically been consumed with preparing for this. But my current thinking right now is that I'd like to keep it as the booth as uncluttered as possible, because we know that as soon as it starts, there's 1,000 people in the booth and we're all trying to do 50 different things.
IDW's presence at Comic-Con has evolved considerably since its first booth in 2001.
So back when we got our table, that was still in the days when you could kind of get one at the last minute, and I think I probably had some friends that helped me out with that. But it was literally just a table. We had one book, the Uno Phantom book, and we had a gray metal cash box, and we sat there and sold the book. And honestly, it was a pretty great time. As the company grew and the publishing business grew, we started to reach the point where we had a pop-up booth, and then once we outgrew that, we bought our own booth, and then it's just sort of growing bigger and bigger and bigger. But really, for us, it's a promotional opportunity, but it's also that opportunity for fans to get to meet creators, but also for creators to get to meet fans, because being a comic book creator, whether you're a writer or an artist, can be a fairly isolating experience. You know, you're sitting at a computer or sitting at a drawing table and creating this art. But that really face-to-face interaction where fans can tell creators how their work impacted them and how important it is for them, that's a really experience for both sides of that equation.
As the company expanded, so did its booth.
4-player mode where there's 2 centipedes and 2 gnomes and they're actually working in teams against each other.
We are always looking to upgrade our booth, often figuring out ways to go a little taller. It's a very busy convention center, so you want to make sure that your booth stands out and that people can find you.
That means the design of the booth is important in terms of both visual appeal and function.
When it comes to like the actual booth design and when it comes to building the structure, those conversations started in about November, December of this past year. So a good 7 to 8 months in advance, we're sort of looking at taking those initial ideas and those initial reactions and sort of how can we implement that into the booth.
What are we doing for artist edition?
So actually, see this little thing right here? That is a like speakers podium, which we're going to have one out on display. We'll sort of switch those out with the exclusives throughout the weekend, but it's actually like a place where we can display them.
As Comic-Con gets closer, IDW has to focus on exactly what will be in its booth and how it'll get there.
Our warehouse is off-site from our main offices, but usually about a week beforehand, they'll start palletizing all of the pallets that we'll be shipping into the convention. So the shipment from the warehouse will go on the 18th, which is the Monday before the show.
This year, the number of pallets was limited to 24.
All right, so this is product that we are taking to San Diego Comic-Con, and I'm just palletizing it, making sure I can fit the max amount of stuff on a pallet because of our limit. It is definitely a game of Tetris. Got to keep it tight and make sure it doesn't fall over in the truck.
And then as of 6 a.m. on Tuesday is when we sort of hit the ground running for Comic-Con.
So that attendees can enjoy comics, exclusives, signings with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles co-creator Kevin Eastman, and so much more at IDW booth 2743 at this year's Comic-Con International. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
Downtown has been under transformation all week long, so we sent out our geekiest video journalist, Nick McVicker, to capture all the sights.